SriOm. Happy Dasara and Vijayadasami to all of you. Thank you everyone for joining on each of the last 9 days, and it's been wonderful to speak to you all in this way and to share my Swamiji's teachings with you all. With the way things are going in the world at the moment, I hope that with this Dasara, we reach, as a whole, we all reach some kind of normality very soon as well. So with that, let's look at today being the last day of Navrathri, and what is the significance of this particular day, and what is it going to mean for us to go on from here onwards. Now, on this page, if you have a look, I have actually put up 18 different rules. These are the 18 rules of our ashram. So it starts with love all living beings, always think of God, and as you go down through that list, there's a whole bunch of different rules. And these are the rules of the ashram as given to us by my Swamiji. And, I think yesterday I was mentioning, of all the different rules, the one that people always say that is really, really hard to follow is anger. And I mentioned yesterday that whenever anyone says, oh, I just can't get rid of that one thing, I don't know how to not be angry, then Swamiji would always have a smile on his face. And he will say, that is not actually the hardest rule to follow. And everyone will look and think, which is the hardest rule to follow? And he will say, in fact, we actually don't need all 18 rules. There's only one rule, and that's the only one that we actually need to follow. And he will say, which one is that? And that is the very first rule: love all living beings. If you are following that one rule, everything else you're following everything else automatically, because you are showing kindness, you are showing, humility, you have already destroyed your pride, and you automatically, you are, showing all of those other rules that are in the ashram by just following that first rule: love all living beings. And so, which again goes back to, hopefully we've come the full circle with the very first session where we talked about humanity leads to divinity, or rather, if you're being a good human being, then you will automatically reach God. You don't have to do all this extra, rituals or extra prayers or all of that. What you need to do is be a good human being. And so with Nishumban dead as well, now we come back in the Devi Mahatmyam. This, on the last day of Vijayadasami, we look at Devi gives her darshan as Mahashakti, or as Devi in the form of having 18 different arms, and in each of those arms she carries a different weapon, and she comes to destroy Shumban. Now, once Nishumban is destroyed, Shumban is extremely annoyed and angry, and he says, you are fighting, you're not having a fair fight. This is not fair. I want you to come and stand before me as a whole, just you, nothing else, none of your other Shaktis, none of this Kali, Chamundi, and all of those people. I don't want any of them. I want you to come and stand as yourself. And so Devi comes and stands before him as one whole. And as Devi is destroying, even before Devi destroys Shumban, all the Devas have already realized that this is definitely going to happen now. She is going to destroy him, and they're already rejoicing. And so when Devi destroys Shumban, then, obviously the Devas, this happiness throughout, the whole nature becomes happy. There's a beautiful breeze that's flowing, the sun is shining blissfully, and there is, wonderful, there's just music in the air and things like that. So once Devi destroys Shumban, this is what happens. So who is this Shumban in us? And there are two different ways you can look at Shumban. One is enmity or wrath, however you want to say it. So it is hatred, and you may have, accomplished everything in, so far. Okay, if you go back from the start, you've already destroyed your laziness, negligence, ahankaram, moham, kamam, lobham, and your krodham, which is your anger, all of this you've destroyed. And yet, if you show enmity or wrath or this kind of hatred towards another person, then you haven't accomplished anything at all. But if you have destroyed all of those things, then Shumban, when he stands alone by himself, it is very, very easy for you to now destroy Shumban as well. And that is what Devi shows us on this day. She stands there with her, with her 18 arms, and, she's destroyed Shumban. Why do we show Devi as having 18 arms? It's those 18 different weapons that you have to destroy each of these Ashuras. And the ashram's 18 rules are those weapons that are at your perusal so that you can destroy your inner demons. And that is the teaching of my Swamiji, in that, and all of those 18 rules can be summarized in that one rule of love all living beings. So, at the end of the day, what is the answer to all of this? It is love. And it is showing love and kindness for yourself, for others, and treating everyone equally. And that is why Swamiji says that is the hardest rule to follow. All the other rules are not so hard, but to be able to love all living beings equally at all times, it's extremely difficult to follow. But when you start practicing that, when you start showing love for everyone, and you start showing that kindness for everyone, then yes, then the gods themselves start to favor you. They are there with you throughout, right? So they play with you, they tease you, and you get to enjoy this bliss, this eternal bliss with being one with Shakti. And that comes to this last day of Navrathri. And with Mahashakti Darshan, we finish off this day. And this is, with that, I would like to wish you all once again a very happy Dasara. I hope that through, I've really enjoyed doing this session. I know they've only been short, but, to be honest, I don't have much more knowledge than that to make them any longer. But I have honestly loved speaking about my Swamiji. So thank you for those of you who've tuned in to listen, because it's given me great happiness to do this. And if nothing else, my sort of, I guess, call to action from all of this is pick any one of those rules, that I've put them up on the page. Pick any one and see if you can start practicing just one of them. Any one, just start practicing one of them. Once you feel like you have mastered that rule, then you can go on to the next rule. And I think one thing that we will all realize is that once you master one of those rules, other rules come more naturally to you as well. So pick any, whichever is easiest for you. Pick that and or tell yourself from now on, make yourself a promise that, okay, I am going to destroy this one character in me that I am not happy with. Look inwards and find that one thing, and, let's make it that. And that will be your offering to Devi on this day. With Navratri, you have, okay, now we learnt about this. The day you start making that offering back to Devi to say, okay, I'm going to make sure that when my alarm rings in the morning, I will wake up without pressing that snooze button. I will make sure that when I am cooking, I will only concentrate on what is, burning on the stove and not leave it and walk away. Or I will make sure that, when I'm ironing, I don't leave the iron on, and so on, whatever it might be. Okay. So just pick any small thing and, bring it into your practice. And with that, hopefully we will all become one with Devi as well. So I would like to thank you all once more for joining. Thank you so much. And with that, we will end today's session and our Navaratri session as well. SriOm. Just before I go though, one other thing I just want to say, I have mentioned it already. I will be closing down the Navaratri 2020 page tomorrow. So if there's anything there that you need, or if you've pasted